taking a peek at the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the Nissan Ariya. I gotta say, the flat bottom steering wheel is kind of cool. But in this video, I'm going to show you everything that you need to know about the steering wheel, the cluster, and the head-up display there. Let's dive in. The steering wheel inside the vehicle is going to be either a manual or power telescoping, just depending on which trim level of the vehicle that you're in. This one is the Platinum trim level, so Platinum package, which means that it's going to be power telescoping. Otherwise, it would just be a manual release that's full telescopic as well. It's just manual instead of power. The steering wheel is also heated. So along the screen, along the bottom side, you can toggle the heated steering wheel on there if you want to. So on off, you can adjust it that way or through the main climate screen there instead. There's also no way to do it down the center there. So you'd have to go one of those options in order to be able to use it. There's a little rocker on the stick on the left-hand side, and that's going to let you figure out which light mode that you're in. You're going to be in auto mode the majority of the time, but a downside of the auto mode is that you can't permanently lock your high beams out. You have to be in the top light mode in order to be able to lock your high beams out instead. So when you're in the auto mode, it goes into an auto high beam mode. So if the vehicle recognizes the high beams are needed, it's automatically going to turn them on. If somebody's oncoming, it's going to dim them before bringing them right back up again. It's really useful. And one neat thing about the Ariya is that there's also a little switch down by your left knee there. And there's the option of adjusting the height of the lights as well. So if you're fully loaded, you're going to go on either 2 or 3. If there's nothing in the car, you could just go on level 0. But that's going to raise or lower where the lamps are sitting, which is kind of neat. There are a series of other switches down by your left knee as well. So one of them is going to be for steering assist that works in conjunction with the adaptive cruise control system. There's one to toggle the head-up display on or off. There's the auto hold setting as well. And the auto hold, what that one does is that if you come down to a stop, you take your foot off the brake, the car's not going to move. And then there are other ones for charging and then for the lift gate. But outside of that, forgot the fogs. So left stick, there's also the option of adjusting up and down to turn your fog lamps on or off there as well. Stick along the right-hand side is going to be for your wipers. So you've got a few different wiper speed modes that are available. When you're in the auto mode, you can also adjust this way. So it's how fast it's rain hitting the windshield, but it's also an auto mode, so with rain sensing. So the windshield wipers are automatically going to pick up depending on how fast rain's hitting the windshield. You can also adjust this way in order to turn on your rear wiper as well. You're going to pull towards you for front wiper fluid. You're going to push away for that rear wiper fluid to go instead. And then a boatload of different buttons. So this is going to be for cruise control, so adaptive cruise. So you could just push in order to turn adaptive cruise control on, and you can see it's on because you've got all of these options here. Once you get up to speed, you're going to push down to set and then increase or decrease 1 kilometer, 1 mile per hour at a time. You can hit the middle button there to cancel your speed, and then you can also hit the brake to cancel the speed, and then push back up to resume your previously set speed as well. And then this one's a distancing indicator, so it's how close or far are you away from the vehicle that's in front of you with 3 unique levels. You can toggle the system on or off, and then you can also push and hold if you wanted to turn into regular cruise control instead. So this one no longer has the stopping capability that adaptive cruise has, it's just your regular cruise control. And then you can hit off, turn the adaptive back on instead. So that's the difference. You know that it's adaptive when you have all of these systems working, and then you've got this icon along the top. Otherwise, in regular cruise, that icon goes away, and you've just got the capability of setting your basic cruise control speed. So simply you're going to push down to set, increase, decrease 1 kilometer, 1 mile per hour at a time. But if you also push up or down, it's going to bring you to the nearest 5 or 0. So it's going to bring you up 5 kilometers or miles per hour at a time, or drop you down 5 miles or kilometers at a time. But if you actually want to see the adaptive cruise control system in person, like how it's actually used, a live demo, you'll find that down in the description of this video. There's the option of answering, hang up on a phone call. There's a voice command prompt.
Canceling voice recognition.
You'd be able to do things like change songs, radio stations. You can navigate using your voice and so many other things. If you were hooked up to Android or iPhone devices, whether that's over Bluetooth or Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, you can do a long push and hold of this button in order to activate either your Siri or Google Assistant instead. And the buttons along the left-hand side here, you've got a volume rocker. So you'll be able to adjust your volume this way instead if you'd like to. You can also use this to jump in between the screens there. Let's start off on the home screen. This is going to be to seek. So if you wanted to be able to change stations out, you can see it jumping through presets there as well. You've got that flexibility. Or you can do a push and hold there if you wanted to seek out to different stations that way instead. Then you've got this button that's going to let you go between a few different pages. So let's hop you into that cluster screen so you can see a few other things that are going on. So you've got your, I want to say like traditional tachometer along the left-hand side. It's an electric. I'll show you how that one works in a second. Speedometer off to the right-hand side there. Current time, how much range you currently have left as a percentage, and then as either kilometers or miles. You've got whatever screen you're currently on there, and then you've also got what gear you're currently in. So whether you're in reverse, drop down in order to go into neutral, all the way down for drive, and then there's a B mode there as well. That's going to be for regenerative braking. And then just button press to put yourself back into park. There is a park assist system that's down the center stack there. If you want to know how to use park assist, you'll find a walkthrough down below. There's E-step, which is one pedal drive. And then there's a drive mode selector there as well. So whether you're in sport, standard, eco, or snow mode as well. Honestly, sport mode is a boatload of fun. If you want the best economy, you're going to be in the eco mode as well. But standard is pretty good. But yeah, like I said, sport, regular city driving. When you're on the highway, if you're just kind of chilling and just chilling like coasting, go to eco mode there instead. But outside of that, you've got temperature and a few other things that you can adjust, but this gauge is interesting. So as you go to put your foot down as you drive, you're going to notice that the gauge goes up because you're using power. When you go to brake, whether that's through the one pedal drive, like the E-pedal, or if you are braking yourself, you're going to notice that the gauge drops down this way, and it's trying to capture that charge. So it's essentially regenerative braking. So you're using power like a traditional tachometer, and then regenerative braking down this way instead. But it does look pretty cool. And then there's also the option, if you hit this button, to change your meter view. That's kind of neat. So that one's going to be a matter of personal preference, whether you decide to go for this view instead, but they both have their own benefits. It's just going to be a matter of preference. Which one do you like the most? You can also tweak out your audio source here. So if you wanted to jump between AM, FM, Sirius XM, whatever the case may be, push back, go to driver assistance settings for lane assist. So do you want to get either a warning or an intervention? So if you start to veer over into a lane without signaling, it can either warn you and give you like a little haptic feedback, or intervention means it's actually going to nudge you back into your lane instead. So that's going to be a matter of preference, but you can toggle it off if you want to. Blind spot safety. So if somebody's entered the blind spot on either side of the vehicle, you're going to get a little notification. And with intervention, same idea. If you start to turn into another lane and there's somebody there, it can bump you back into your lane as well. Emergency assist with braking. So if there's a collision, it's going to automatically brake for you as well. And then the rear brake assist. So if you're going to back up and you don't notice that there's something behind you, but there's something there, it can automatically brake for you as well. From there, personalized display. So along the left-hand side, what do you want showing there? So do you want your trip counters? Do you want navigation showing? Do you want nothing there instead? Brake lights. So it's actually kind of neat. As you hit the brake lights, you can see that come on. It's kind of cool. Average speed and things like that. So that one's going to be a matter of preference, but you can personalize that display. And then if you jump across, there are so many other options. So you've got your current direction that you're facing. If you had a route going, you'd be able to see your turn-by-turn directions there. You could just have a blank screen instead. You've got a few different counters there too. So you've got your total energy used along with your energy consumption for the current trip that you're on. And then you've also got your manual as well. So you can see what's going on there. You can also reset. So just by pushing and holding the OK button there, that's going to reset all items, economy, speed, driving time, whatever the case may be. Swiping across into tire pressure, so you can see what's going on with your wheels. Hit OK there in order to change your measurements, whether that's PSI, KPA, bar, etc. Shooting across to your navigation, so same idea if you had a route going, and then you also got full map and cluster, which is amazing. And actually I wonder if we change this out. Oh yeah, look at that. Fully stretched out map and cluster instead. That's like one extra reason why you'd want to go for that. Yeah, for that view, but that's still pretty cool. You can get your full map and cluster there. There's also your sources, and then you can hit OK there in order to change your different sources out. Shooting across into your little drive view instead. So you can see what sources are, or what I should say safety settings are currently activated. From there, just your basic drive view and then a speed limit sign. So with this drive view, it's actually kind of neat because as you go to utilize the adaptive cruise control system, you'll notice that these go green with the lane centering system turned on, or the drive assist turned on there. So your steering assist there. So only available while you're using the cruise control. But these things are all going to go green as you utilize them. And that means that they're activated, and that's going to perfectly keep you balanced in your lane. You've got the adaptive cruise system going, all that fun stuff. It looks really good when it's actively being used. And then you've got a boatload of different settings. So do you want your traction stability control enabled, disabled, yay or nay? Driving assistance settings, so cruise control, do you want to automatically have it adjusted based off of your route? Where that comes into play is that the vehicle recognizes you're coming along bends and turns, whatever the case may be. It can automatically slow you down as well. Do you want to get speed limit assist, yay or nay? So if you're going a little bit too fast, or let's say if the speed changes, it can automatically lower the speed for you as well. Lane centering assist is a useful one, so it's going to keep the vehicle perfectly balanced in your lane as you go. You do need to be using the adaptive cruise control system in order to use that though. Lane assist, we've seen that one. So that's if you start to veer over into another lane without signaling, it can either warn you or it's going to nudge you back into your lane. Simulated with blind spot, and then the emergency assist. So you'll see a few of these are duplicated a few different places. Rear cross traffic alert, if you're backing up and somebody's coming perpendicular, it can let you know. It can let you know if there's a moving object behind you there as well. And then do you want to get that front or rear parking sensing system? So if you are actively using, like if you're backing up, whatever the case may be, you can actually see your sonar for the front and for the rear. So if there's somebody there, something there, an obstacle, it's going to beep at you to let you know, but you can also toggle it off. You can also say how far do you want to be before you get that notification, and you can also adjust the volume there as well. Driver monitor is an interesting one. So if you start to veer over too many times without signaling, eventually it's going to tell you that you should probably take a break, but you can toggle that off if you want to. E-step is going to be your one pedal drive. Chassis control, nothing exciting there. Personal display, that's the same one, so we've already seen that one. What do you want it to look like? Head-up display is available here as well. So you can adjust the brightness of the display. I typically recommend going for maximum brightness. It just makes it way easier to see. You can adjust the height, so how high or low does it sit, just based off of your own personal height. Rotation, do you want to rotate it left or right? What content do you want showing up as well? So driving assistance, speed, sign recognition, you're changing your radio station, things like that. And then you can reset it. So there's a lot of stuff available inside of this little guy. So you can see your little head-up display there, but you've got your current vehicle speed. If the cruise control system and things like that were turned on, you've got your current radio station. If you had an active route going, it would also show up inside of the display. And then one really cool thing that I like, you can actually see the head-up display when you're using polarized glasses. I can't tell you the number of cars that I'm in where if you go to use polarized sunglasses, the head-up display doesn't actually work. So Nissan, whatever you're doing to make that so dang bright, good on you, because that is typically not the way that it is inside of most head-up displays that I review. But yeah, you've got the flexibility of adjusting it there. And then there's a button just down by your left knee there. So you can toggle the head-up display on or off. When you toggle it off, that menu goes away. You can see it comes back on again. Eco mode, let's see, do you want to be, that's where you're going to get all of your reports. So when you go to turn the vehicle off, it's going to let you know how good of a drive you were doing. Look at your history to see how good you've been able to get. It's terrible right now just because I'm sitting here parked doing an explainer video. TPMS settings, nothing exciting there. How do you want to measure your tire pressure? Clock is a neat one. So whether or not you want the clock showing up inside of the cluster screen there. How do you want it displayed? So auto versus manual versus time zone. You're typically going to be in auto mode. The only time I recommend getting out of that, like time zone specifically, is if you're straddling a time zone and you're constantly jumping back and forth between different zones. So you can permanently lock it out to whatever time zone that you want to. But for most people, you're going to be fine in the manual mode. And then do you want to be in that 12 versus 24-hour mode? So do you prefer the military time instead? And then these other options are grayed out because you don't have manual mode enabled. But if you did, you'd be able to manually set the clock if you wanted to. But yeah, like I said, auto mode is the way to go. Basics for vehicle settings. So the power back door. So if you had a power lift gate, you'd be able to toggle that on or off. You can adjust the lighting as well. So you can turn your headlights on. So as you go to approach the vehicle at night, the lights will come on. You can adjust the accent lighting inside the vehicle. So it's very subtle, but lit up at night. Looks pretty cool. And then you can also adjust the brightness of the ambient light. Single color, unfortunately, but it's subtle, but it shows up at a few places and it kind of looks neat. Then when you go to lock the vehicle at night, do the lamps just turn off or do they stay on for up to 3 minutes? So useful if you've got a little bit of a drive to go in order to get to your front door. Options for locking, nothing exciting there. When do you want to be able to unlock, or when do you want the vehicle to lock or unlock, etc.? Let's see, do you want your horn to beep when you go to lock? Walk-away lock is cool because if you've forgotten to lock your door and you're walking away with the fob on you, it's going to automatically lock the door. And then you can also turn approach unlock on as well. So if you've got the key fob on you, you walk up to the door, it's automatically going to unlock for you as well. Wipers, speed dependent. So as you're going faster, it's potentially going to speed up the wipers for you. Rain sensing, same idea. So the vehicle can automatically determine how fast or slow it's got to go based off of whether or not rain's hitting, and then reverse link. So if you've got your front windshield wipers going and you put yourself into reverse, it's automatically going to flip on those rear wipers for you as well. From there, driving position, easy entry exit seat, and then steering on top of that. So you can enable or disable these. But what that means is that if you go to turn the vehicle off, so, oh yeah, you can't see the power button there, but when you go to turn the vehicle off there, if you've got these enabled, if you've got the power steering wheel, it's going to push it forward. And then for the seat, it's going to pull it back for you to get in and out of the vehicle a little bit easier. Rear door alert, nothing exciting there. Mirrors, do you want to auto unfold? So auto fold off, so that means that they're always going to be open. You can have it automatically unfold when you go to turn the vehicle on, or when you go to unlock the vehicle, do you want the mirrors to unfold for you? EV settings, when do you want your charger to be locked? Auto versus lock. So auto means that if there's an active charge going, it's going to stay locked in, but it can be unplugged at any time if the power source is cut. Locked means that that charger is always going to be locked in regardless, and then you can unlock it as well. The benefit of being unlocked, like I said, it's always going to unlock for you, but in order to unlock, or it's always going to stay locked, I should say, but in order to unlock, you have to hop inside, turn the car on, and then manually unlock it that way instead. Charge time. How do you want to be charging up? Like, what do you want it to look like there as you go? Battery cool assist, nothing exciting. Maintenance, if you're doing maintenance yourself, so changing tires out. You can customize the display a little bit. So what do you want showing up in that main screen? Having the turn-by-turn directions on that home screen is actually pretty damn useful. Route guidance alerts, yay or nay. Welcome effect as you go to start the vehicle up. You saw that when we first turned the car on. Do you want to get animations and sounds? And nothing exciting there. Wiper, do you want to have your front versus rear wiper going? Available. High beam assist, so in the auto mode there, if the vehicle recognizes the high beams are needed, it's going to turn them on. If somebody's oncoming, dim them, etc. And then seat memory, do you want that enabled, yay or nay? And then seat memory is available down the middle there. So once you have the seat set up the way that you'd like to, you're going to push set and then either 1 or 2 in order for it to remember your own personal profile. So very, very useful, especially if you have multiple people driving the car. And units, do you want to be in kilometers, miles? Do you want your temperature measured in Celsius or Fahrenheit instead? Do you want your language to be English, French, or Spanish? And then factory reset. So you can do a factory reset to bring yourself back to the factory default screen there instead. Then only other thing to point out is going to be right along the side there. So you see that there's a little icon there. You can push that in order to be able to adjust the screen brightness. So if you want it a little bit darker, brighter, whatever the case may be, you've got that flexibility. So I know that is a lot of information, but that's everything you need to know about the steering wheel, the cluster, and the little head-up display inside of the Nissan Ariya.